and keep on fighting until the victory is ours! Fight for your women and your children!
The Last Kingdom is one of the most popular and critically successful Netflix originals of the past few years. The series is set in Saxon England and shows the clashes between the Saxons and the invading forces of Vikings. The latest season of The Last Kingdom has given fans a new outlook on a number of their favorite characters. A few became MVPs, and some became evil, which is why we will be discussing the most loved and hated characters in The Last Kingdom. Stay to the end of the video to know where your favorite character falls. Before we begin, we publish new videos every day, so be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more great content. Let's begin. The Last Kingdom is a huge hit with fans who are more than a little opinionated regarding certain characters. Although the series is brutal in terms of its violent subject matter, it has some tender and emotional scenes that reveal the soft side of some of the characters. This is why we will be discussing the most loved characters and hated characters in the series. First up, the most loved characters. Utrid. Naturally, Utrid had to take this place at the head of the list. His blood is Saxon. His heart is Viking. His battleground is England. Utrid, played by Alexander Draymond, is the man in the middle, the linchpin character of all that is the Last Kingdom. Born a Saxon but raised a Dane, Utrid realizes that his bloodline represents the future of his war-torn country. Though he values loyalty highly, Utrid is always scheming, always working to win back his rightful seat as the heir of Bebbanburg. And it doesn't seem to matter to him whether it's the Saxons or the Danes who ultimately help him do it. With split loyalties and the weight of destiny on his shoulders, it's natural for him to be a little restless. Good thing he's a man of action. Utrid is fearless to the point of recklessness, brutally honest, and a talented leader of men. He's always excited to watch, even when he's making the occasional rash decision, being too quick to swing his sword, or make everybody's life more difficult by refusing to bow to political whims. In addition to his loyalty to his family and friends, he's also clearly a muscle-bound and attractive man, which easily makes him a fan favorite. Father Bioka. Religion plays a big part in the lives of almost all 9th century Saxons, so it's no surprise that he is on the good side of the fans. Bioka, played by Ian Hart, was formerly the priest of Bebbanburg. He baptized Utrid and has been a close friend to him all his life. He's an important father figure to the fatherless boy, and is committed to restoring the young man's birthright. The impetuous, headstrong Utrid loves Bioka dearly, and is usually willing to accept his steadying influence and wise advice. No stick in the mud, the witty and playful Bioka enjoys verbally sparring with Utrid as he constantly gently attempts to steer him away from Viking paganism. As a man of faith in a violent time, Bioka's intelligence and insight provides a shining light in the darkness, a light that is capable of steering people he loves away from destruction. In many ways, Bioka is Utrid's guardian angel, and he probably saved Utrid's life when the young man first brashly arrived in Winchester early in Season 1. Bioka steered Utrid clear of a sword fight with the formidable Leofric, who viewed him as an arsling Dane, and facilitated a meeting with Alfred, who most likely would have had Utrid beheaded had Bioka not vouched for him. Sihtric. Sihtric is a member of Utrid's band of merry men, and is arguably the most attractive person in the Last Kingdom. In addition to good looks, Sihtric has also shown that he is a loyal and brave person who is more than willing to risk his own life to help Utrid. Also, Sihtric, much like the rest of Utrid's gang, is one of the funniest characters on the show, with the warrior having a subtle yet funny personality. Ragnar. Ragnar was one of the series' main characters until the slimy Ethelwald unceremoniously killed him off. Ragnar was the adopted brother of Utrid, and despite being a Dane and frequently being on the opposite side of the battlefield to Utrid, he remained close to Utrid. Ragnar is one of the most honorable Vikings in the series, with Ragnar treating both his friends and enemies with respect. His relationship with Brida also shows that he is a fantastic partner. Oswald/young Utrid. Reappearing in Season 4 of The Last Kingdom, Utrid's son finally reconnected with his father, joining him on several adventures across the season. While initially treating his father with contempt, young Utrid would finally learn to understand his father and forgive him for his past crimes. Young Utrid is a good-humored and forgiving character who is more than capable of showing his brave side at times. He easily deserves a place on this list. Sigtryggr. When the audience was first introduced to the Viking Sigtryggr, Most viewers expected this new Dane leader to be one of the new villains after he invades Wales. While initially this was the case as Sigtryggr would capture Winchester with the help of the revenge-fueled Brida, Sigtryggr would show himself to be a calm and considered leader. Sigtryggr is a leader who wishes to avoid conflict whenever possible, and, as shown by his interactions with Uhtred's daughter, is a kind and intelligent person. Finan, another of Uhtred's band of merry men to appear on this list, Finan is an Irish warrior who has shown his loyalty and bravery throughout the series. Despite the odds being stacked against them at several points in the series, Finan has shown that he will never abandon Uhtred and his friends. Besides being attractive and loyal, Finan is also one of the funniest characters on the show. Aldhelm. Aldhelm is one of the most loyal characters in the Last Kingdom. Aldhelm is a loyal servant to Mercy, and despite initially being the sidekick to the slimy Aethelred, Aldhelm would go on to grow close to Aethelflaed and show the true nature of his character. Aldhelm is an attractive, loyal, and brave character who may be one of the most underrated characters in the show. He surely deserves a place on this list. Hild. Fans are constantly amazed by Hild, played by Eva Berthisel, a nun-turned-warrior turned nun again. After being severely traumatized by the Danes, Hild left her Catholic vows behind to take up the sword and defend King Alfred's land from the Viking invaders. She's also devoted to her rescuer, the pagan Utrid, but sometimes remains uncertain of her choice to live a life of violence. Along with the priest Bioka, Hild exerts a calming influence on Utrid and has become one of his most trusted advisors. Despite having left the church, her faith informs everything she does. After the death of Lothric, she becomes a rock Utrid can lean on, and she is instrumental in his emotional recovery from his slavery trauma. The most hated characters. Ailswith. Ailswith was introduced in the second episode of the series. Why fans don't like this character? I know that some people despise King Alfred in the Last Kingdom, but his wife made it on the list. After all, there are very few redeeming qualities about this brown-nosing, narrow-minded character. While Alfred constantly had to think about the country's good, Ailswith routinely only thought about her best interests at heart. As the queen consort, she naturally has some sort of voice. That voice helped dictate to her husband what he should do, whispering things about Utrid purely because of his Danish upbringing, all at the hands of a Saxon lord. She never once stepped back and thought about everything that Utrid had been through. Ailswith pushes her views. Over a couple seasons, she has stagnated in her character development because of it. Some don't really hate her, but they are bored of her, while others have their reasons or had the chance to develop new feelings or push forward with their plans. Butterworth has never had the chance to do that for Ailswith. Alfred. Is it by mistake that both Alfred and his wife Ailswith are on the bad side of the book? I'm not partial here. It is a known fact that most fans will agree that Alfred was the best leader out of all the rulers on the show. However, that's not to say he didn't make any mistakes. So, based on his mistakes, many fans included him on the bad side of the book with his wife. Alfred admitted before his death that without Utrid, he wouldn't have been king. However, he spent most of his life tormenting Utrid while he was alive. Alfred also left his daughter at the mercy of Aethelred, not to mention forcing Ecgwin into a monastery and taking away her children just to legitimize a more prominent marriage for Edward. While his reign was a success, some decisions he made were not worthy of a king. Tolerating Aethelwald was also part of his mistake. Aethelwald was a snake that Alfred should have kept out of politics the moment he became king. Alfred had many chances to silence him and prevent the damage he was causing, but he forgave him because he was his brother's son. Aethelwald always worked against Alfred and even tried to kill him when he agreed to be Guthrum's spy. When he went into Daneland and made a pact with Newt, he killed young Ragnar, the only Dane leader that Wessex could trust to make peace. His cunning nature also caused Godwin's death, which further widened the rift between Alfred and Utrid. Breida. Many viewers of The Last Kingdom aren't exactly fans of Breida. Some reference the fact that she gets mad over the littlest things. And she doesn't just get upset, she goes berserk. It happens quite a few times to Utrid himself. Her personality is so annoying, and she doesn't even attempt to show understanding or sympathy to where Utrid is coming from, as opposed to Ragnar, who still treats him with respect and understanding. Her cold and spiteful attitude, along with her violent mood swings, are just plain annoying. However, there are fans out there who like Brida and understand her completely. She may be stubborn, but she has a reason to feel the way she does after everything she's been through. She doesn't understand how Utrid can jump back and forth between both worlds. There you go, guys. Let us know your opinion on the characters listed here in the comments section. And you can also include your most hated and loved characters if they weren't on the list. Remember to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on our new videos. Thanks for watching.